Sorry to keep you waiting, folks. Complicated business, but we are back after roughly 2 months of our absence with another Rust Belt Boys podcast. We have the usual co-host, North Star Politics, but we also have two incredible guests, including Great Lakes Politics, who was recently
I did
banned.
nothing to help Dan Kelly.
Who did nothing to help with Dan Kelly and was recently banned from YouTube. We'll get to that shortly, as well as Left Right, who is known as Katie Brittstan on Twitter and posts some of, if not the best, election content on YouTube. So hopefully the four of us
No, his
will
graphics.
be able to catch you up to
Apparently,
speed.
there's like a cult. There's a cult following over his graphics. I know that.
Yeah, true. People
I've seen
steal his
that.
graphics. All right, so let's get to our first story of the evening, and that is, even though it's from April 13th, I know this is old news, but we haven't been live in a while, and I think it's kind of important. So in the great state of Michigan, a company supported by the Chinese Communist Party and has direct links to it is opening a battery plant in rural Michigan, and they're not even going to hire American workers. They're going to bring in their own laborers from China. So a pretty big kick in the pants to America's workers coming from true working class hero Gretchen Whitmer. So yeah,
Very true, Buckeye.
we love
Tudor
Whitmer, don't we,
Dixon was an
folks?
elitist.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. Tudor Dixon was an elitist.
Tudor Dixon was a liberal writer.
We should have ran. We should have ran a pro-choice candidate.
Gretchen
Tudor
Whitmer
Dixon was a corporate globalist.
Gretchen Whitmer was a MAGA Democrat.
Tudor Dixon was bought and paid for by the globalists.
Tudor Dixon will cut taxes
Tudor
for the
Dixon.
rich.
Dixon was too conservative for Michigan.
Real.
We had to run Kevin Rinke.
He would have lost by.
I don't know why they kicked off James Craig from the ballot.
He didn't have enough
Michigan is
signatures,
just a
quote unquote.
dictatorship nowadays.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so the
Michigan's just a
Chinese.
dictatorship. They literally kicked the one guy who could win off the ballot. Okay, go ahead.
All right, yeah. So I don't know. There's not a whole lot to say
Yeah.
about this. Nothing's really happened since they announced the construction of. There actually was a protest led by Perry Johnson, this podcast's endorsed
in the
candidate
United
for
States,
president.
right?
What?
Perry Johnson's announcement was so cool.
Yeah, I like Perry Johnson. He's pretty chill. But he led a protest
2
against
cents
it.
to
It was
save
just a bunch
America.
of boomers waving flags. But, I mean, there really wasn't a whole lot going on here. I mean, they haven't really talked about it since they announced it, really. I'm not sure what we could even do about this at this point. It's more of a state of Michigan thing. So, let's get... I don't know. Do you guys have any thoughts about this?
It's ridiculous.
Bad.
Like I just. Well,
But
what's even more
remember-
of a kick in the face is that it's an electric vehicle battery plant. That's what's even more of a kick in the butt because it just shows the Great Reset's coming.
But remember, Whitmer for workers, right?
Yeah,
Remember that.
definitely. Yeah, I remember Whitmer. Like, God, she ran. Democrats have just have this idea that they're just like these pro-union laborers, but then they actually have to encounter union laborers who oppose them, and then they're like, "Oh, ew, what are these chuds?" So
No, that's what it
It's
is.
literally what it is for every demographic group. There is.
No, this is how it is. Democrats, they claim they're the party of unions. In reality, they're the party of union bosses.
Mhm.
The union bosses and union
that's
workers
true.
are different things. Yeah. Actually, a lot of workers tend not to want to be in unions, but they're kind of forced to be in them.
I mean, no, a
That's
lot of
kinda-
workers like unions. It's just... Unfortunately,
union
unions
Yeah,
benefits
have
there's a
become,
good
like-
amount. There's a good amount who are kind of forced into being in them, though.
I don't know, unions, I think,
Especially here, you
are-
hear a lot, like, in Wisconsin, you hear a lot of people, like, always complaining about their unions and how, like, stuff like that. That just could be, like,
probably
something around
public
here, though.
sector. Public sector unions are a completely different can of worms than
that is.
government unions. I don't.
What is
they're
your opinion on Starbucks unions?
against
You-
them.
Stupid.
stupid?
Teachers unions,
Against them.
Stupid.
police unions.
Against them.
Base.
I'm not for or against them. Like, I understand why they exist, but some of them are pretty corrupt. Some of them, not all of them, but some of them. I don't know.
All right, let's go to... Speaking of, like, labor stories, I guess we'll go to the next story here. which isn't really a big story yet, but I feel like in the coming months it's going to be a lot more interesting. And that is everyone's favorite populist
Whoa.
duo, Bernie Sanders and Josh Hawley, have teamed up yet again
Based.
Free
for the
trade
largest
initiative.
tariff hike since the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act of 1930. Unfortunately, this thing we're reading from is a libertarian free trade website, so we can clown on them.
Low
Yup.
libertarians.
Essentially, they want to raise the tariff from right now. The tariff on goods from China is about 11%. Hawley and Sanders want to raise it to 40.9%.
Oh my
Based?
god.
And that would be, and the stuff they really want to place tariffs on are shoes and clothing, toys, and computers and cell phones, which
Based.
the resulting price increases would come at a time when inflation and everyday bills remain big concerns for American families. Like, yeah, okay. But anywho, I think that's a pretty big development because this could really change the game for American workers.
Yeah, I mean the problem is it's not it. Like the problem is it's tariffs on stuff that already really wasn't made here too much, but it definitely helps. What I'd like to see is I'd like to see a steel tariff hike. I think we need that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they really talk about steel hike in this thing, but I mean it's a start at least.
It's better than nothing. Like it's a step in the right direction as everybody puts it. I mean, that article, God, I read that and they're over here saying like, oh, basically I'm gonna sum up libertarian free trade. I can buy a toaster for 5 cents cheaper, therefore free trade gooder. There, I just summed it up.
Rough free trade.
But free trade very good.
Free trade very good because I can buy a Mountain Dew for 2 cents cheaper.
Oh yeah, are we
I mean, I
gonna
guess
talk
free
it all
trade
in the
is good
stream
when you
about?
live in like the coasts and all you do is consume stuff. But
No, NAFTA's good for truck drivers, as Gen Z Patriot told us that time.
Yup. Yup.
Yeah,
Very
good for
true.
putting them out of work maybe.
Bro, he used Institute as a source when he was like arguing that Gen Z.
God, if I hear one more,
Which that would be like equivalent. That would be the equivalent. That would be like equivalent of using like Nick Fuentes as like a source, like talking about Holocaust like numbers or something.
Okay, so
Don't worry, I disavow it.
we disavow.
Alright.
We disavow.
disavow YouTube. You didn't hear any of that.
I don't even like Nick Fuentes. I want to declare war on him because
I've never
he's
liked.
gay.
I've always thought.
And his fans threw a literal temper tantrum. His fans had a literal temper tantrum the other day because there was like a black person was in a relationship with a white
Oh my God, there are.
that post.
I
oh my
forget there's
God.
people on the right
tantrum.
who
It was funny.
are still anti like interracial crap, and it's just kind of annoying because it's
The
like
Groyper
we have
movement.
bigger
No, you can tell
issues
it's-
on than that.
You can tell it's just because all of them are obese.
I'm pretty sure that account was a fake though.
Yeah, now that I think about it.
Wouldn't show it.
The
They
person
have like
who posted that.
2 followers. They have like 2 followers, something
Actually,
like
no.
that beforehand.
Huel says because Huel says Nick Fuentes is a good source. That means it is.
True. Do whatever he feels.
You'll never lie.
Are you in a tornado or something?
No. It's actually a nice day out here. That's the
Yo, I know
FBI.
your location.
That is the FBI. I'm not even buying my house right now, so good luck.
Yeah, well, I know your exact coordinates.
If
I'm-
this
I'm
stream
gonna-
gets to
I'm-
20 viewers, I will send GLP's address in chat.
What the hell, bro?
Wait, do you actually know it?
No.
No, it was because GOP Josh knows it because he mailed me like some money and a pin of his.
no.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Yeah, we all know what happened with you and him.
But no, this is what will happen though. I'll dox if he doxes my address. I'll be able to dox his full name, and then like his dad or something will like beat him up. I forgot what he said.
Okay.
All right, so moving on.
So moving on to our
Yeah, moving
next
on.
story
Oh.
is Ron DeSanctimonious, the governor of Florida, will be announcing his 2024 presidential campaign
Governor
tomorrow
Twitter space.
In a Twitter
over
space.
a Twitter space.
Boy, you better believe I'm attending that.
These Twitter. I'm just thinking of that Beardson clip where he's like, "These Twitter spaces are so."
Oh my God.
I would scream that, but I'm in public right now, so I don't want to scream. Like, have a full-on schizo
Crap.
rant.
Like DeSantis is just
However,
so awkward.
DeSantis
Like, I don't know why he
campaign
thinks this is a good
managers
idea.
should be like fired.
DeSantis shouldn't run.
I've lost if it like I have lost so much respect for him now that he's deciding to throw his hat in the ring. When he, like,
What do you mean, dude?
like,
What do you
it was
mean? His
established-
policies of protecting gas stoves from the woke mob
Yep.
is going to
Yep.
save America in 2024. You cannot deny that. These are the most pressing issues: is gas stove,
His policies
protecting our
of-
gas
Well, when we
stoves.
have
Banning
people in the
books is gonna
Midwest who
work
can
well in the
barely
thrift list.
afford, we have working people in the Midwest and farmers who can barely afford to exist right now, and the biggest issue is gas stoves, which I'm against the whatever that whole thing was, but we have voters who are literally starving in the Midwest who can barely afford to live. Fuel prices are too high. Farmers are losing. They can't buy fertilizer because it's too expensive. But
No, those voters need to realize the most important issue is wokeness infecting our
right, the
gas
fact that they're
stoves.
not able to get food on the table that's not important at all. Screw those people.
Gas stoves.
When I say gas
It was made
prices,
with
I'm more
gas.
referring to the price of gas-powered stoves.
I know.
Yes, that is
Relatable.
true. The woke mob left is trying to damn them.
But anyways, still DeSantis, I've still lost respect for him because it was clear that his time was 2028. That it was clear that his time was to run was
Perry Bros?
2028, and he blew it.
We got any Perry Johnson bros on the stream?
GOP supports
I am an
Johnson and
I am an
Kennedy.
avid 2 cent enjoyer. Okay, I'm a 2
Oh
center.
my god,
The 2
Kennedy
cent
Johnson
The 2
2024.
Yes,
60 years after the
Johnson.
original.
Oh yeah, Kennedy Johnson. I saw someone make that meme a year ago, but it was John N. Kennedy and Ron Johnson. So no, it works. It works with RFK and a Perry. I'd be fine with that. Oh shit.
JR Majewski is a Perry. JR, why'd you block me on Twitter? After I showed you winning.
He still follows
Share
me.
Crown.
I'm
I'm
still happy. I still am happy for the time that he endorsed me over Buckeye in that like mock election thing last June,
Oh,
and I
Jesus.
still lost. And then I lost, and then I led a coup, and then I led a coup,
Oh
and
God.
in the coup, Yankee was president about at the time. Everyone in the coup was banned from ever being in the mock government again, except me, because I like talked to Yankee behind the scenes, and then everyone got pissed off because I was the one who started it. That was
So
funny.
basically, what you got to get from this is you're doing your best. You're doing your best FBI impression. So
Yes.
go
the
ahead.
2020 election.
Huh?
That was just the 2020 election you're talking about.
Oh yeah, basically.
That's the good ending.
Like that's what happened.
J.R. Majewski endorsements never lose.
True.
It's impossible.
It is not. It's literally impossible. There's
JR
no
Majewski
way.
almost endorsed me in a mock gov election.
He did endorse me. He endorsed the Yankee Perspective list. He said, "Go vote for the Yankee Perspective list," and I was on it. So
All right, let's go to our last story of the evening, and that is the Turkish.
let's go, my
presidential
boy.
election.
My boy, Erdogan. He's my boy. We need Erdogan to win. Over the secularist leftist cabal. I'm not allowed to
So
say that
true.
word. Never mind. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, the third place endorsed Erdogan, so he's gonna win.
I was
Yeah,
about to
that
say,
was
I'd
epic.
be
I
stunned
knew-
if Erdogan loses.
There's no way he was gonna.
I know. I knew there.
There's no way he was gonna let himself
He got
lose
like
anyway.
49. He got 49.2% in the first round. There's no way he loses.
49
Even
and
if
a
the
half.
other guy endorsed. Yeah, even if the other guy endorsed the other guy. No, even if the third place endorsed the other guy, Erdogan still would have won.
I don't. People. The people who say Erdogan. People think Erdogan's gonna lose. Those people are. I think they're just stupid because it's like number
No,
one.
most of them conceded he would win after the first round. I'll give him that.
Well, yeah, and not dude. Erdogan had he was down big pretty early on though, because Istanbul and like Ankara were reporting. and a lot of those were I don't even know how you say.
No,
it.
the
It's
stuff I was watching, he was up the whole time, and that's the thing. They were all
stuff I
displaying
saw-
different
Erdogan
Erdogan
results.
was up the whole time.
For me,
No,
the
they were
Bitcoin was
different
initially
agencies. Different agencies were showing very different results. That's why.
They have a
Like,
weird
for me,
thing
it
where they
showed-
like,
Oh my god, GLP. You're
No,
Bro jumped in.
oh shit.
yeah, they have a weird thing where it's like they don't have like it's not like percent in. It's like how many ballot boxes have been opened.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, I thought that was a little weird. I was like, wait, so people are still actually voting live right now?
Yeah, like it's not like how much of the vote is in. It was like how many ballot boxes they've opened. So it said like 80% in, and everyone was like, "Oh, Erdogan won easily." But then it was like, "Oh no, not really."
Yeah, the thing I noticed, the agency I saw initially Erdogan, and I'm talking like very early on, he was down by like 10 points, and then the rest of Turkey started coming in, and then he took a pretty big lead. I thought he was gonna finish with a first round majority, and he was gonna avoid the runoff. That's what it looked like. And then all of a sudden, and then like between 85 and 99% reporting, the other guy just gained a crap ton. So I don't know.
No, it was pretty steady for me because I know there was one result that was like being broadcasted from the what's the other party called? It's the C. I think it's like CSU.
It's like the Citizen something party. I don't.
Yeah.
CHP. That's CHP. That's what it's called. Yeah, there was like a CHP affiliated news outlet that was showing the other guy up the whole time, but they ended up being wrong. Everyone was saying, "Look at them, they're right." Everyone on Twitter was like, "These people are right because the others are Erdogan propagandists," and I was like, "We'll wait and see." And it was right. The other one was actually right, not the crappy one.
Yeah, I remember looking. I remember when I first googled the results, it said Kamil is in the lead, and I'm like, oh crap, Erdogan might actually go down. And then I click on like the site that's reporting results, and then he's up by like 12, and I'm like, what is this garbage?
No, I was looking at Al Jazeera the whole time, and they had Erdogan up.
I did the one that Wikipedia. Yeah, I was on the one Wikipedia.
No, at the beginning, no, at like the first like results that were popping up, I think the guy had a lead for like a minute, but then
That's
like
what I was
Erdogan took a
referring
massive lead.
That's what I
Yeah.
meant. He was up like 54 to like 39, and then the rest of Turkey came in because that was like I think that was like 10% of the vote in Istanbul. The other guy took a huge lead, and then Erdogan made it pretty much all of it up.
Yeah.
But second round, with that the third guy is like a right wing. It said he's like a Turkish ultra-nationalist. I don't
Yeah.
see how Erdogan like.
There's no way,
not
like,
even-
No, he endorsed Erdogan yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
No, but there were all these people on Twitter who were like, the nationalists in Turkey oppose Erdogan. He's gonna come out and endorse whatever is Kamal, I think his name is. They're like, oh no, Erdogan's still gonna lose because of third place. And I was like, I don't think the far right guy is gonna endorse this like neoliberal secularist. That was just me,
No,
and it turned out to be right. He didn't endorse.
The sad part about that secularist guy is he tried to accuse Erdogan of infecting the country with like illegal immigrants. He tried to use right-wing rhetoric to unseat Erdogan. How do you do that?
Yeah, because Turkey is a super conservative country. You have to realize. So
No, I know, but like, how do you're trying to outright wing Erdogan? Like, how do you? That's not gonna work. And also,
it's kind of similar to Brazil. Because in Brazil, like Lula had to pretend to be anti-abortion to win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, like how like people on Twitter are so surprised that Lula is ditching the U.S. or whatever.
I
That
called it.
2020.
What did these
And we
people
were like,
expect?
They
oh,
could've
well,
seen
this
this
is gonna
coming.
happen, and then they were like, oh no, Lula's a big progressive. And then
Who
that
could have
happened.
seen a communist supporting China over the United States? What a shocker!
No,
that
that's
was.
what it is. These people on ET have no understanding of foreign politics. They think that every single left-wing candidate is like a progressive, and every single right-wing candidate's like an evil fascist. Like you saw that in Italy.
Right.
You saw that also in like India. Like a couple days ago, there were some Libby T people because like
Oh, that
Congress,
random
which is
Dem dude.
yeah, that dude. So there was like a local election that was won by the party that's not Modi's. And this random Dem guy was like, look, special election indicator shows that Congress is going to beat Modi in the next election. I'm like,
No way
dude,
Mo-
do you know?
no way Modi loses.
Modi-
Because
Modi
He's like
has
an 80
Modi.
approval
There was
rating.
yeah. He came out
He's like a
yesterday. He has a
5%
70.
approval.
He had a 78% approval, and I'm like, dude, he's not losing. And they were like, special election says otherwise. And I'm like, Indian politics is
That's a
so much
literal-
different than America.
That's literally
People
what they
are-
did with Jacksonville. They won a race which they won.
Yeah,
a race
now they
for
think
8,000
that Florida's
votes, and now
blue
they
again.
think- and now they think Biden attacking DeSantis or Trump would actually make him
Here's
win
the-
Florida.
Here's
Even
the
though
problem.
Duval literally voted blue in the congressional elections, like in the Florida generic ballot last year.
Duval County
Duval
is the
literally
one
won.
place in Florida that's actually shifting left.
Yeah.
Too.
And they're still acting like, oh, Florida's likely to. I will say though, this is what I'm making this right now. I think Dems are going to become so cocky for 2024. They're going to donate to a bunch of races, and I think that Republicans will do a lot better than expected because they're going to have what we had in 2022. I think they'll have in 2024 because
I've been saying.
I just think that
I agree.
I
with
think
that
they're getting
statement.
I think they're getting way too cocky about
I literally think
2024.
Texas is gonna flip. Like, if they
Yeah,
think
they're-
Ron Allred is
These
favored
people
over
think
Cruz.
that Beto. These people think that Beto should go for Senate. There are people who want Beto to go for Senate again, and it's like
No,
Why
it's all
is
Colin
that?
Allred. There was
Yeah,
this
I don't
dude
know.
on Twitter named Tim Ryan fan who's basically,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
99% sure. I think he's just paid by Colin Allred because he just like every post is just Colin Allred decimates Ted Cruz in state. Like I'm pretty sure that guy's just like paid.
Colin
Also, speaking
Allred-
of it,
See, Mastriano's
there's a lot of-
gonna run for Senate. Oh,
there's a paid. There's a
can
lot
talk
of paid
about that.
shows. No, can I talk about this real quick too? There was this guy on Twitter. His name's like Cryptid Politics, I think. He put out a
Yeah.
tweet earlier today where
Saying
he said that DeSantis announcing on a Twitter space is equivalent to Washington crossing Delaware.
I saw
and he
that.
was so unironic too. And then it
Yeah,
became like a
because he's a-
funny joke for like an hour.
Yeah, there was a bunch of DeSantis shows. Also, there's this account that I'm 99% sure is a bot that I just found today. It was called like No Trump 2024, and it just
Mhm.
like responds to every single comment with Trump cost Republican 4 election in row, like some shit like that. It's just like 2022 was not red wave because Trump endorsed bad candidate. It was like it's like a bunch of like bot talk, if you know what I mean.
NPC.
Yeah. Imagine naming your account No Trump 2024. Even DeSantis Stan would be better than that.
Yeah. All right, so if we're done with the topics, we can get to chat and then just talk about whatever. So we'll see
Yes.
what's going on.
Okay, so like I said earlier, Mastriano's running for Senate. Oh my god.
Yeah, apparently we can pull that.
He
up.
is?
And on Thursday, he's gonna announce for. He's gonna
My
announce.
tweet, this dude literally got trolled into running by Libby Team that worked.
Yeah, he did. Everyone on Libby T was like, Mastriano.
Mastriano,
is a great
run for
candidate."
Senate.
He
Okay,
agreed
this
with
is-
all of them.
Okay, this is the best case scenario. This is what needs to happen. Club for Growth needs to endorse Mastriano, and then Trump will endorse McCormick.
I'm pretty sure
Trump
Trump
already-
already said he's not endorsing.
Trump already
Mastriano.
said he didn't.
Yeah, Trump's
wanna
not
endorse
endorsing.
Mastriano. Whether that'll be
Yeah,
enough
because
to
he's gonna-
stop it this time though, would be the question.
No, if Trump endorses McCormick, I think McCormick will win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like who does like McCormick almost won last time. He only got like Mastriano. He won off a lot of that Trump base who also voted for McCormick. If Trump endorses McCormick over Mastriano, a lot of those working class people will vote for McCormick.
Actually, no. Because
Especially-
he says Mastriano is going to win the primary no matter what. So
If Trump endorses McCormick, that won't happen. And I doubt Trump endorses Mastriano again, especially with that statement he put out I think it was like a private thing where he was talking about how he disliked Mastriano.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, yeah, Mastriano.
No,
is the Senate, arguably.
No, that one election wasn't. It would have still been
There was something
50-50 if
on
I was.
Reddit,
Yeah.
comments,
No, but people
and
saying
somebody
it's
said
Trump's
Mastriano
fault
for
that.
VP.
No, I will-
That'd be worse than Marjorie Taylor Greene. Oh my god.
No, what I will say though is that it wasn't Trump's fault that Mastriano won the primary. Trump endorsed him like 2 days before the primary.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because
I know that.
it's Lou. This is my thing. It is Lou Barletta's fault. It's not Trump's responsibility to come in and save Lou Barletta. Like Like, Lou Barletta had a chance at the beginning to actually campaign and win that primary. He didn't. He sat on his ass the whole time, and people are shocked when Trump's like doesn't endorse him in the last 2 days.
Mastriano
Like,
was already leading when Trump endorsed him.
Trump endorsed him 2 days out when Mastriano had like a 30-point lead. It's not like this was a super contested primary that Trump cost him.
Mastriano is like one of the few candidates that I actually like. I won't say Trump had a factor in him winning or not because he was gonna win anyway, right? Because she had like a 15% polling lead too. Like no way Barletta was coming.
Also, ET needs to get over this obsession with Cleefish. She would not have beaten Evers. I'm tired of people acting like it. She made a abortion comment very similar to Dixon. She wouldn't have been able to distance herself from it in the general the same way that Dixon wasn't able to. I'm tired of people acting like she would have done so much better just because Waukesha, when that's not how they work.
Logan Sato.
Yeah, Logan Sato just needs, I don't even know. He's okay. Like, look, he's okay. He just memes a lot. Like, I can actually respect him, but some of these people are kind of hard to because they're just full on shills. Like Logan Sato, he knows how to meme, and he's actually in our group chat, I believe now, right? Isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's okay, but some of those people, like Cryptid, for example, that guy's a fucking like going around with the DeSantis using Twitter space.
I'm going for DeSantis.
No, there's that one mega guy too who's kind of insufferable. It's like mega Catholic or something like that.
Mhm.
Who's like, if you think we're gonna back Youngkin, think again. We won't back anyone who's not Trump.
Oh, I remember he said Youngkin was like a super big rhino, and then I ratioed him because he said,
Yeah, that guy's
I'm not
annoying.
gonna vote for Youngkin.
There's like a trope that like all Trump. Yeah, he is. His seat isn't up till 2020.
Boy.
They do it in Pennsylvania every 4 years. So it's like Mastriano's not up again until 2024. It's Barletta's fault, and I supported Barletta. He should have won. But it's like, it's his own fault that he let his lead die down like that. He would have been the nominee if he stuck on message, but he didn't. He decided to be lazy. He was like Mo Brooks. It's actually very similar to Mo Brooks.
Mm-hmm.
What happened with him?
Yeah.
Except he didn't have a Trump endorsement. And I don't think the Trump endorsement would have helped if he was just lazy the whole time. So... Also, it was funny, like all these people were like having a meltdown when Zeldin endorsed Trump. Did you guys see that?
That
It was like
They were like,
he has a
Zeldin was, like,
loyalty.
good, but like he has a loyalty to DeSantis because Trump.
No, and then people were
in the first place.
And then people, you know what people were saying? People were saying like, "Oh, no wonder he lost New York." And it's like, you guys were like cooming over him like a few months ago because he got New York so close by being like a moderate or electable or whatever you say. And then the second he endorses Trump, it's like, "Oh, he lost by 6 points. That means he's a bad
Zeldin was,
candidate."
like,
And it's like,
one of my favorite candidates in 2022.
if he would have surged like 2 weeks earlier, he would have won.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I stand by this statement. I think
that showed him up made me so white pilled.
I think if the midterm, like 2 weeks after, I think Republicans would have done a lot better than they did.
I don't know.
Like if the wave was like a lot, because like here's the thing, the Republicans surged way too late, and Republicans can't bank on that anymore. They need to be surging by like late September over early October. They can't be banking on like late October everything coming to their column.
That's kind of true.
That's my full-on thing. If the Republicans aren't doing super good in the polls by like mid-October, then I'm gonna call it that Democrats are really gonna do good.
So we have like a voter turnout issue that really hasn't been discussed. Like, oh, my Trump this, my Trump that. Trump turns out voters.
He does, and no one wants to admit that. Or
Yeah,
no,
that's
they'll
what-
just say,
yeah,
"Oh,
about-
Trump turns out Democrat votes," and it's true. But like, you make this risk with DeSantis. DeSantis has been smeared just as much as Trump. So what could happen in 2024 that they don't want to talk about? What if in 2024, DeSantis, all these Democrats who've seen like all these cable news people saying like, "Oh, DeSantis is worse than Hitler," blah blah blah. All those liberals turn out against DeSantis, but a good chunk of the Trump base doesn't.
We would just be
At least with
2022
Trump,
again.
at least with Trump,
guaranteed base turnout.
yeah, at least with Trump, we know they're going to turn out. With DeSantis, we don't.
And
people
plus,
like-
Trump's base will vote Republican,
People
and then
are like-
hopefully those Republican candidates in like the Senate and House can appeal to other people, and we should be able to hold the House and take back
People
the
are
Senate.
like, "Oh,
I don't think
you
we're
know what,
holding the
DeSantis-
House.
I think we are.
Trump was going to do worse.
I think we're screwed in the Senate because of Moreno. I'm going to be honest.
No,
Moreno was too much.
that is an L.
Moreno
take.
was
That is
way-
such an L.
He is
take.
way too much like Tim Michaels. I'm going to be honest.
Mhm.
What do you mean?
Low cares. Watch his speeching. I watched his speeches and I was like, this guy is Tim Michaels 2.0. He's a low charismatic businessman. He's just like, I'm running for Senate because the radical left.
He's
is
had one
taking-
ad.
Yeah, but he's not charismatic.
He's
And, like,
actually good
look,
on the issues, though. He's gonna get funding.
I know he's good on the issues, but Tim Michaels got funding too. He still
I
lost.
really think LaRose is that much more charismatic than Bernie Moreno.
Well, at least LaRose is
Well,
not
I mean,
stable.
LaRose barely won his primary, and he almost got primaried out as a state senator because he was so shit on the issues.
He's anti-abortion, which is good.
No, the Ohio Right to Life funded a primary challenge when he was in the state senate because he was against all that stuff.
Are they?
No, I actually,
I'm sorry, I'm gonna mute him for a second. That is just so annoying. The mic.
Appalachian Dem had a conversation with him, and he claimed he was super anti-abortion. So I'm gonna believe him. Actually, you know who I support for Ohio? I
LaRose,
support Matthew Dolan.
Matt
Okay,
Dolan.
Matt Dolan. He is going to
Matt
save
Dolan,
the state of
complete and
Ohio.
total endorsement.
I am a Dolan shill. I support Dolan. Hey, if I'm going to be honest, we're probably going to win that race by like 1 to 2 points because if Trump's on the ballot, if DeSantis is on the ballot, not so sure. But yeah, someone who ET is really overestimating? Tester. Like all these people are like
Just listen. So West Virginia. So in the past 2 cycles, right? In 2020, the only state that voted the opposite party was Maine, right? And then Libby thinks Brown and Tester are just going to divide that country.
I seriously don't think like Tester
Well, and
like
in
Trump's gonna
2016, it was
let's
like
be real.
no other crossover state. Like Trump won Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, but Toomey and Johnson held on, and then Ayotte barely lost, and Clinton barely won. So like there was in the last 2 cycles, only Maine has voted against the other party that carried the state presidential.
And I'm still shocked that happened in 2020, especially by
That
the
really
margin
wasn't
it did.
supposed to happen.
I remember being shocked. I was watching election night that night. I remember LTE and all these people, even Red Eagle, was like, "Oh, Colin, she's not going to win." And it's like I think Rapp was the only one who had her up, but he also had like what's his name in Minnesota winning. He had like New Hampshire, I think, Lean D.
Lewis.
Yeah, Lewis. I actually like that guy. He was pretty good, but he ran in the wrong year.
To be honest,
If there
Trump
was
has a really good endorsement slate. Like,
For what?
For president, people who endorsed him, like other than like Roy and Good, like they're like almost everyone good is endorsed.
No, you have to realize Trump is the establishment choice because Elise Stefanik endorsed him. So that
Lindsey
means
Graham.
he's
Don't forget
establishment.
Lindsey Graham.
Forget that like Ken Griffin and all these people are backing DeSantis. No, he has the Elise Stefanik endorsement.
Oh,
It's over. He's an establishment shill.
there's a joker. But like,
I like how
Kansas
Dr.
and,
Oz just
Iowa
like
and
for.
Texas, I'm
I
so
like how
glad
Dr. Oz
Oz and
is
Walker
like
just phased out.
they just phased out. What do you who do you think Oz voted for in Turkey? Because he's still a citizen and he has to vote. It's mandatory that citizens vote there. So
Probably
who do you think he?
I'd say Erdogan.
I think he did. Didn't it come out? He supported him in 2018. I think it was.
I think so. Yeah.
Dr. Oz is a true patriot.
Dr. Oz. We love
Mehmet
Dr.
Oz.
Oz.
He
Mehmet.
really shouldn't have lost by 5. I don't.
Mastriano.
So-
Mastriano. He rolled with Doug Mastriano.
Fetterman. He rolls with Doug Mastriano. I guess it worked. The funny
No,
thing
he's
is,
Fed. No, he's not Fetterman. He's Federman. He's a Fed. He's Fetterman. Fed.
people who act
FED.
like Fetterman is a populist because he wears a hoodie and shorts is kind of crazy.
That's the most elitist shit I've ever heard. It's just like, well, look, vote for him. He's got a sweater on.
That's literally what rural Pennsylvania did too.
Unfortunately, yeah, that worked.
No, I think they just didn't turn out.
Where the big issue was
I-
turnout across the board.
Yeah, that was the case. Those counties. It's not like.
It's not voter like people don't actually care about policy.
Oh
like,
no!
going to
Oh, no,
Madison or whatever, that didn't work, right? He should have like
Oh, no,
he should
that-
have actually raised turnouts. That's what the sad thing is that he's the most efficient GOP vote getter.
No, yeah, I'm tired of like seeing it on my timeline. We just gave 2 people to switch registration.
I just don't
Insert
criticize
county
him
here,
because he follows
Pennsylvania.
me when it speaks.
He follows me too, but like I don't even know. I don't criticize him on Twitter, but I criticize him elsewhere because in Wisconsin he did a mad job. Let's just say, and that's because he was going to all the blue states. He was going to the blue counties. That election was always going to be a turnout election, which is why even if I did get, they wouldn't have done anything because the area I live in was going to vote for Janet anyways. It was just a matter of how much would they turn out. It wasn't really a race for independence. It was a race to see whose base could turn out.
Look at
And
that. I think people are saying Carolyn Carlucci or whatever in Pennsylvania is the next Dan Kelly. Well,
No, she's not.
Because
I actually-
number one,
okay,
she's not
hot
even-
take. I've got a very high hope for that race. I'm not going to lie. because I
party
think-
identification, it's just
I
like
think-
that's what, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, because given the state of Pennsylvania, we saw that a few years ago Republicans won that Supreme Court race in Pennsylvania. And I think that given the fact that it's not a deciding, it doesn't decide the partisan lane of the court,
So number
I
one,
think that because of that, and because abortion's already codified in the Constitution of Pennsylvania, I think that it's going to. I think Republicans have a shot at that race because in Wisconsin, keep in mind, abortion's fully banned. So as of right now, that's going to change in 2 months. But
number one, so like party identification already helps her because ancestral Democrats
yeah,
will
that
be
is true.
as key to vote for the Democrat because of party identification. Like if it was Republican versus Democrat in Wisconsin, I think it would have been closer. But,
Yeah,
like,
it would have definitely done.
Number
It wouldn't
two
have
is
been
like
10 points.
Number two is like you said, abortion. It's not the deciding seat, right? Democrats will still have a majority either way, so that won't turn out Democrats. Like, you know.
And
Yeah,
abortion's
yeah.
already codified in the Constitution in Pennsylvania, so it's not
Number
like
three, number four. She's not even that like extreme either. Like
Mhm.
people are saying on Libby T that she was extreme on the 2020 election. All she said is everybody has to have their voice heard. That's literally all she said. And people were comparing her to like the next Mastriano or something. Even when she beat the Mastriano funded and endorsed candidate.
You know what? I'm kind of glad. I'm going to be honest. I'm kind of glad that 2022 ended up being a shit year for us because now Libby T is every single election cycle going to be super overconfident. And then, like, they're going to be the ones who are, like, pissed off because, like, they'll be saying, like, Texas, tilt D, tilt R. And then it goes red by, like, 6 points again. And, like, Republicans almost win Wisconsin, maybe even win Wisconsin. Like, I've seen
2024 is
some of-
going to be super
I've seen-
close. Like,
I've seen some of these people say Wisconsin's like likely D in 2024, and it's like, no, it's not.
Okay, here's the thing. Whenever Trump's on the ballot, it's never been a blowout, right? 2016, still pretty close. I mean, he
Okay,
won like by.
I will be back. I will be back in a couple minutes, so I'm gonna transition to my computer. So I will be back momentarily.
And then in 2020, right? He was supposed to lose Florida. He barely lost Wisconsin, right? So like, it's never been a blowout for him.
well, yeah.
And like,
I mean,
now,
in 2020, I mean, the other thing too people don't talk about is people don't realize how strong Biden's coalition was in 2020. I mean, he had the highest minority turnout in
Ever,
history.
right?
He had mail-in ballots. He had a bunch of Republicans and moderates endorsing him. He had COVID, so he had all these independents supporting him, and he still barely won. And like in 2024, we're going to be out of COVID. We're going to have Biden is now unpopular with that base. I really don't see how it's that
Two-thirds.
unreasonable to say Trump narrowly wins.
2/3 of voters don't even want Trump to be Biden again, right? But Trump has a dedicated base. Biden does not.
Yeah.
And you see
Josh
it-
is in chat.
I
Let's go.
saw.
GOP Josh, the true alpha male.
I
Sorry, go ahead.
saw a thing, right? And this is 100% correct. Biden has a bigger base than Trump. Well, he did anyway. But in the case of like a third party independent, because not even a majority of Democrats want Biden to run again. If there was a left wing progressive independent, that would hurt Biden a lot more than Trump, because Trump has a more dedicated base. Like, I don't want to say a cult following, but similar to something like that, where they'll vote for him anytime. They'll go out to vote for him 10 times if they really had to. Where Biden is like, he got a once off where everybody was united against Trump. And remember, he had like super high favorables on election day. Now he does not.
Yeah. The Biden coalition isn't stable. The Trump coalition is. I think that's the big difference.
Yeah, like Trump could get, Biden got 51% in 2020, right? He has to work super hard to get that again with his favorables right now. Minority turnout, a lot lower, right? Places
Minority
like
turnout was
Philadelphia.
really bad in 2022. It's just rural turnout was bad too, so it evened out.
And that's the main reason why somebody like Ron Johnson won, is because minority turnout was in the bucket.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, that's the main reason why Republicans kept the House, because minority turnout was so bad. While in the Senate, the bases have shifted. So nationally now, Democrats rely on suburban voters, and thus they're going to start winning more unless we fix the rural turnout issue and capitalize on lower city turnout, because white wine moms vote, right? Everybody else doesn't. Every election they come out to vote. And that would be one of the main issues, because they're also a growing population. And we need to do is either get those city voters to turn Republican, or just convince them, say Democrats are that bad, just don't vote. And then be a winning coalition. But the main thing is that in 2020, Biden had suburbanites. He had anti-Trump Republicans and like the exurbs, which is one of the reasons why I think Biden doesn't flip North Carolina. Those exurbs are way too Republican. And he had minorities. Now he doesn't have at least one of those. Exurbs, I mean, maybe, but like, how much more can you really get out of them?
I'd say Biden's better off in the suburbs than the exurbs, honestly. At least in the Rust Belt.
Because the reason why it's going to be so hard to flip a state like North Carolina, or it's so hard to flip a state like Georgia in the first place, or flip Texas, is because there's so many exurban counties, which Biden, the reason why the suburbs shifted so far to the left is because of minority composition, right? Like, Cobb County, Georgia isn't even majority white anymore. Like, and Trump lost it by like 18 points. Walker even more than that. While places like Union County, North Carolina is probably really overwhelmingly white. And while Trump's going to lose ground in Mecklenburg County itself, the exurbs of Raleigh and Charlotte are going to make up for that number, because these counties surrounding them, it's like a line. As a 1 million people, and Trump won that group by 40 points. If Trump improves with the white voters, because I think he's going to improve with every minority demographic nationwide, like he did in 2020. Thing is, that's just not enough, because they don't make up enough of the electorate. So if he made up with white voters, he's golden, because the key thing to the reason why Texas is still pretty red even under Trump is because of the exurban vote in places like Montgomery and Kaufman County, Texas, or whatever, is because exurbs and Biden just did not cut into those enough, and Trump still held pretty reasonable ground on the exurbs. And I think that's why Biden's going to struggle a little bit more than people expect him to, because the southern states don't just depend on these like suburbs compared to a state like Michigan or Pennsylvania, where the suburbs clearly outnumber the exurbs.
Yeah.
While in
That's a big reason Ohio is super red because we have a lot of exurbs.
like the Cincinnati exurbs. Oh my god, those are really good.
Yes,
like-
hello.
Wow.
To
Just
my
getting my mic
point-
set up real quick. So
to my point, I think Democrats shouldn't expect a blow because one of the main reasons they did so well was not just suburbs but exurbs. I think that's going to be a huge issue. I think that's one of the reasons why Mark Robinson would also keep it close, because those deep suburban
no, Big
counties.
Mark's winning. He's not just going to keep it close. He's going to win.
Yeah, the governor of North Carolina declared a state of emergency because Republicans.
Yeah, I
vetoed
think-
this thing. Like
I
that's
know
gonna
this
really
is a hot
hurt it.
take, but I get polling suck 22, but let's be real. North Carolina, I think, is tired of a Dem governor. With all this stuff, especially now. There's a reason they elected so many Supreme Court Republicans last year. Now Republicans almost have
Oh yeah, and then they have another one retiring.
yeah, it's gonna get the Republicans are gonna have that whole court in a few years, which is why I don't buy this stuff. North Carolina is a future Democratic stronghold. For a state that's
They've
a
been saying that since
Democratic
Obama.
stronghold, you wouldn't see all these seats going Republican and all
The
this.
Thing in North Carolina that was slightly concerning was the Research Triangle in 2022. That congressional district with Wiley Nickel or whatever, every Republican lost it.
Yeah, but even then, they didn't lose it by much.
Yeah, but I think Beasley matched Biden in that district.
Well, here's the thing with North Carolina. Unlike most southern states, in the rural areas there's still a lot of room for Republicans to grow.
Yeah. Eastern North Carolina, the
A
black.
lot of those counties, you look at it, it almost looks like rural Wisconsin in some of these counties. There's a lot of room to grow. Most of these states, like Georgia, for example, it's all the rurals are already solid.
And like I said, the exurbs as well.
Yeah. I'll pull this up. Give me a sec. Using the good old election shuffler. This is a popular tool. Also known by, I see this especially on ET, people asking, what is this? People will make maps and it'll be what did you use to make this? Share this, Buckeyes. So yeah, you look at these states and the Carolinas, look at the rural areas and all these surrounding states, and then look at the Carolinas. Look how light they are compared to these other states.
Yeah, the rest of the South.
Yeah, just look at how light they are. Which is why a lot of these counties
Robeson.
I think there's exurbs here, but it's still they're barely red. Even these are 100% rural, only 62%. All these rural counties up here, these ones are in the 70s. But even down here, they're only in the 50s. These counties, there's a lot of room that Republicans can grow in the state of North Carolina, which is why I'm not saying that it's over for them in the state.
Okay, and I said, suburbs also. Another thing, suburban. Libby T likes to act like all suburbs are the same, right?
They're
They're
not. Well, I saw someone the other day say there is not a single white suburb in the country that is not moving Democrat, and I'm like, have you ever heard of Lorain, Ohio? And that was just off the top of my head. I know Lorain, isn't that more of a suburb? I know it's more working class. But
Yeah, it's a suburb, but it's working class.
No, but then someone said, "Oh, JD Vance did worse than Rob Portman there," and I'm like, I don't care. Trump literally flipped it from 2016 to 2020, so I don't care that. JD Vance did slightly worse than Rob Portman.
Look, exurbs, which again are probably majority white, not really too educated,
Yeah, they don't talk
educated
about
in
the
most
exurbs at
rural
all.
areas, right? But look, places like Waukesha are more convinced on persuasion than places like Gwinnett County, where they're actually actual policy, which conservative policy actually isn't too popular there. But in fact, one of the main reasons why people do talk a little too much a bit about Kemp's race and shifting the suburbs to the right is because minority turnout, which matters a lot more than a place like Waukesha, was down. So that's why it was a little closer. Whereas these are still GOP voters. This is still voters that the GOP, relies on like Ottawa County, Michigan, and that congressional race and all that. And if Trump can limit like gains from Biden, which he could actually gain some just because of the demographics of that areas, then he could actually have a good chance at winning.
And
in
here's what I'm going to
2024.
say, which this is something I'm kind of glad we got that Supreme Court race in Wisconsin for, is the fact that it gives us basically what the max for a Democratic win in the state would be. And
Yeah,
we
'cause
saw
Janet, he didn't
Waukesha.
even
This
flip-
is what happened in
She
Waukesha.
didn't
This-
even flip Ozaki.
No, she didn't flip Ozaki, but here's the thing. Waukesha County, a county that's supposedly supposed to be competitive in 10 years, Dan Kelly received 57% of the vote in. So if even in a D plus 10, the state goes, actually, I think it was closer to D plus 11. Janet won the state by D plus 11, and Kelly's still getting 57% in Waukesha. I don't think it's going to be competitive all that time soon. And like Ozaki might be, but here's the thing people don't talk about. Ozaki has like no people. This isn't like it's not
This
a
isn't Collin County. Like Ozaki has like 5 people in it.
And Ozaki
It's like
isn't
when
really that
Democrats talk
suburban.
about like
Ozaki-
South Texas
I'm
having
back.
alerts, it's literally their
Yeah,
that's
people act
literally
like Ozaki's the super suburban county. It's more exurban, and yes, it is trending blue. But
But it
there's
has, like,
not
no
that many
people in it.
people. Like you look there, these people think that it's like a traditional suburb, and it's like I go up to Ozaki time to time. It's not even close to a suburb. It's mostly rural. You're driving through it. There's no difference between it and like Sheboygan, Washington, Fond du Lac counties.
Why is it
Most
shifting
of-
blue then?
What?
Why is it
Because-
shifting blue then?
Because of
people-
these small areas. There's these small towns there, like Grafton, Port Washington. These are good examples. They're towns that used to be red but are shifting more blue. That is the main reason that the county. It's not these suburbanites. It's these like smaller towns, because that's how it is in Wisconsin. Some of these smaller towns are shifting more Democrat. Waukesha is semi-suburban. I'll give them that.
Why do you think
Waukesha-
that is?
What?
Why do you think that is that these small towns are shifting so blue?
They're being built up.
They're kind of
Yeah.
they are kind of
like
getting
growing
built up, that's
population
what it is.
equals more Democrats. Really.
Well, yeah, that's
Because-
been the case across the country. I mean,
Because-
No, but it's
as
funny
we
Like, if
built
you
up.
look at-
outside of
Colin?
Milwaukee, most of the counties near Ozaki are trending red, like Fond du Lac, Sheboygan. These are red. Like people forget it, but Sheboygan voted for Trump by like 17. It voted for Mitt Romney by like 2. Like
Mhm.
Manitowoc, I think Mitt Romney lost. Did he? I know McCain. Let me look at this. 2012.
If you look at places like Collin, which is the fastest growing county in the country, it was like Romney plus like 30 something, like 10 years ago. Then it was Trump plus 17, now it's Trump plus 4. Probably going to flip next year.
Oh no,
But,
excuse
like-
me. Manitowoc did vote for Mitt Romney by 3%. McCain was the one who lost it, but still, it went from Romney plus 3 to Trump plus 23. So, like, a lot of these counties on Lake Michigan and Wisconsin, especially further up, are trending red.
Also,
Because
like,
they're more working class counties.
Yeah.
And that's the thing we've seen like across the
Manitowoc
country
also
is
has a
like
lot of
more
Catholic
working class areas
You have to.
tend to be
Sorry.
more are trying to be shifting Republican.
Manitowoc's
got
very
suburban
Catholic.
areas.
A lot of
2022
Polish.
would act like everything's trending blue.
A lot of Polish Catholics in Manitowoc, like a lot of those Polish. That's also the reason Portage has gotten a lot redder. It used to be like 60% Democrat. That's been like Catholic voters.
And like,
I think
I saw
Portage is the
something.
most Catholic county in the state.
I saw something, it was from this Fetterman stand on,
Oh my God!
On
Anyone with
election
the name
Twitter,
Stan,
and then
I
it was
immediately
like-
don't-
it was like, Trump won't do better in any county in the driftless region.
No. It was what's their name? It was Driftless Politics, and they're not even from the Driftless, anyways. They're from Eau Claire, which I pointed out isn't even a Driftless. It's like north. It's like a city that's kind of north of La Crosse. They claim they're in the Driftless. No, they're not. They're claiming that all these counties are going to swing towards Biden, and I'm like, if these counties swung towards Ron Johnson in a
Who's
year
like,
with-
not even a
super
populist,
low
he's like a
turnout.
fiscal boomerang.
And this was with
they're not
incredibly
gonna
low
swing towards
turnout.
Biden. Just
Ron Johnson got saved by the driftless.
he did.
Like, if you look at
That's going to be the key
2016
to
through 2022 Milwaukee trends, they shifted so much more against. Like in 2016, he won the Milwaukee Metro, right? He lost it narrowly, so it was really the rural areas that saved him because he did so much better this time around.
Yeah, people need to realize that Waukesha, like all these people on like election Twitter, are like Trump cost us in the suburbs. if someone like Mandela Barnes has the ability to get 37% in Waukesha, then those Scott Walker margins are never coming back, and I'm tired of people acting like they can.
Dems have a floor now. I don't get why, but like people are extrapolating. Like, how is somebody who has, remind you, has a near same
Okay,
approval
I'm going
as
to have to get going. Sorry about this, but thank you for having me on, and enjoy discussing election trends, which was the whole reason I was banned from this thing in the first place.
Yeah.
Also, tell everyone to sub to my new channel.
Yeah, go sub to the new channel.
Yeah, it's the
All right,
Great
since it
Lakes
looks like everyone's
Perspective.
leaving, we'll just end it here. We're not really discussing anything. So thank
Election
you guys for
trends. We gotta
watching,
have-
and we will see
We gotta
you
have an
all
8-hour
later.
stream on elections.